So good afternoon. Welcome. My name is Costantino Grasso. I serve as an associate professor in business and law at Manchester Metropolitan University, and I'm the co-founder of the Corporate Crime Observatory. Welcome to our international roundtable entitled Corporations, Governance and Crime. We are here at the Manchester Metropolitan University All Saint Lecture Theatre, where this event is taking place, but because of its hybrid nature, we've also attendees and panelists that have joined us on Zoom from all over the world. We are so glad to have you all here this afternoon. Thank you so much for your participation. So before briefly introducing our event, I am really pleased to give the floor to Professor Mark James, who serves as Professor of Sports Law and Director of Research and Knowledge Exchange at Manchester Law School. Professor James will formally welcome you to our law school here in Manchester. So dear Mark, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Costa, and a very warm welcome to you all on behalf of Manchester Law School and in particular to all of today's speakers, both in the auditorium here and online. Thank you for giving your time and expertise this afternoon. Today's roundtable is a highly innovative teaching session on our LLM in International Business Law. And joining our postgraduate students today are students from the LLB and colleagues from across the Faculty of Business and Law. And I hope that all of you and those online are about to enjoy what will be presented to you this afternoon. The focus of today's session is on the dissonance between what corporations say, what they ought to do, and what they actually do, and drawing on 8 case studies that have been created by the presenters using examples from around the world and focusing on different business sectors, a more complete insight into how corporations, their governance, and their interaction with the criminal law should evolve in a way that can face current challenges. The case studies will then be made available as teaching materials on the Corporate Crime Observatory that can be accessed by everyone here and others interested in the issues under discussion today. The development of this session and the people involved with it fits perfectly with Manchester Law School's ethos. We aim to support world-leading research that can be, and as you can see today, is being integrated into our teaching, and that is absolutely key to what we hope to be able to do. Through the work of Costa in particular with Stephen and John, who is joining us in January, we are developing a wide-ranging expertise in the field of corporate law and corporate governance. And coupled with Manchester Law School's long history of innovative teaching, today's roundtable really epitomises what we do. We give our students first-hand experience of cutting-edge research, and today in particular, the opportunity to meet with experts from around the world, both in the room and online. I won't take up any more of your time, safe to say, welcome once again, and I hope you will enjoy this afternoon's session. Thank you very much for being here, and back over to you, Costa.
Thank you very much, Mark, for delivering such a warm welcome message. Let me now introduce our event a bit more in detail. So this event has been organized within the Master of Laws course in Corporate Governance. So let me thank all my LLM students that are here with us, and as well as the other students that are present with us today. Such a decision was driven by the conviction that law students need to know more than substantive law, and business students need to know more than basic business principles. This is particularly true in an area that is the area of corporate governance. We should offer content that goes beyond the analysis of the law that govern business organizations. Specifically, we should explore instances of corporate wrongdoings and collapses to understand what can go wrong in the corporate world. We live in an era characterized by what has been defined as the global corporate takeover. Global corporations have acquired immense wealth and enormous political power. As a result, when their actions are illegal, unethical, or otherwise irresponsible, we have to cope with the magnitude of the adverse consequences that such practices may exert on our life. During the last 2 decades, we have witnessed a new trend of corporations claiming to be different, to be ready to mitigate the externalities, to reduce environmental degradation, to pay the fair amount of taxes. In other words, to become good members of our society. However, what we have experienced in reality so far is something different. Although corporate wealth has continued to grow even after the pandemic, workers' wages have stagnated and inequality has increased. We have experienced financial crisis, opioids crisis, environmental crisis. To quote what Joel Bakan wrote in his most recent book, The New Corporation, corporations are a large part of the reasons things have gotten worse. They never changed, at least fundamentally. Consequently, it seems vital to explore and discuss cases of organizational misconduct that incorporate crucial insights into problematic aspects of the corporate world, including, among other things, executives' motivations, their decision-making processes, and how laws and organizations affect business people's behavior. Our event today is driven by the mission of casting light on some of these burning issues through a series of brief but highly topical case studies. In particular, this afternoon, our terrific guests will focus on 8 select corporate scandals, which will cover issues spanning several countries and different industrial sectors, including the food, leisure, extractive, and financial industry. We will also focus on a recent UK judicial decision that represents a matter of concern in the area of whistleblowing and corporate compliance and audit systems. This event has been co-organized together with the Corporate Crime Observatory, which is an international platform established by independent academics and experts from different countries and backgrounds devoted to promoting the analysis and discussion of corporate and economic crime issues, as well as other forms of corporate responsible behavior around the world. In that regard, I'm now delighted to give the floor to Dr. Donato Vozza. Dr. Vozza is lecturer in criminal law at the Faculty of Business Law of the University of Roehampton in London, a co-founder of the Corporate Crime Observatory. Dr. Vozza will briefly introduce this innovative platform to us. Donato, please come, the floor is.
Thank you very much, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be here, to meet you, Costa, Mark, and all of your fantastic team in Manchester Metropolitan University. Today, I will try to present just in brief minutes the Corporate Crime Observatory. We are talking about corporate crime, and we are doing something that could impact on the society. At least we try to do it. First of all, what is the Corporate Crime Observatory? As Costa said, it is a platform devoted to promoting the analysis and discussion of corporate and economic crime, and also irresponsible corporate behavior. Dr. Grasso is the founder and the editor-in-chief. I had the chance to work with him for many years, and we have launched this initiative together with other colleagues that are here at today. Dr. Branislav Hock from Portsmouth University, associate editor, together with Dr. Elina Karpacheva. Then we have also appointed the head of dissemination and economic sanction, Ksenia Sipek and Dr. Damian Romstan. And then we have a lot of researcher, assistant editors that work every day with us, Costa, for this initiative. And I would like to thank Dr. Pietro Maria Sabella, Dr. Flavio Innocencio, that is here, Stephen Holden, soon doctor, Maria Balaoro, and Okopi Wilson Ogbo, that is here at Manchester Metropolitan University. As you can see, for looking at this picture, at the moment, the Corporate Crime Observatory reaches a wider audience, a global audience that span in 5 continents. We are at the moment talking about how to try to impact also in the global south. And so any initiative, any one that would like to contribute in this sense is welcome. Now, what are the goals of the Corporate Crime Observatory? First of all, we are establishing a repository of information and data about corporate and economic crime. In other words, what is the difference between the Corporate Crime Observatory and other websites? We are there not just to publish a news, but we always include in our news also a decision, a report, a new law. This is because we try to combine a journalist approach, like Costa said, with a law-oriented approach. At the same time, we try to conduct cutting-edge research in the area of corporate economic crime. Previously, Dr. Grasso Costa was talking about the whistleblowers, and we have already some papers written by our assistant editors in this field. And then to create a multi-stakeholder platform, so a sort of a knowledge exchange hub for academics, policymakers, judges, prosecutors, and so on. But we have other goals. We will try to raise awareness about corporate crime, especially in society, and so ensure that public opinion can access information in a user-friendly format. We try to generate tangible changes in the regulatory environment, and thanks also for anyone that who will contribute here today in this way. And then, but also extremely important, we are clustering with other public and private international organization initiative. For example, I would like to remember What Does It Profit? A podcast that is extremely interesting, and I advise anyone to listen. But at the same time, we have other partnership with the European Compliance Center and the CSR block. What are the areas covered by our Corporate Crime Observatory? Very simple: corporate crime, economic crime, executives and employees crime, and unethical corporate behavior. How it is structured, and I'm concluding this part, I'm finishing it. Our Corporate Crime Observatory is divided in two parts. The first part is more dedicated to the news and opinion. In other words, we publish short notes that aim at illustrating recent pieces of relevant information, like legislative reform, court cases, and law enforcement actions. But we try also to develop opinions and papers, something that could be useful then to write some journal article. And we have also a bulletin. In other words, we offer a summary of the ongoing activities of the Corporate Crime Observatories, about its members and its partners. At the same time, the second part is focused on thematic areas, the research that we have done, including the project Virtue, funded by the European Commission and coordinated by Dr. Grasso. Also, the project on disinformation funded by NATO, and Whistling at Fake was one of the most interesting. How to join the Corporate Crime Observatory? First, subscribe. Then, if you can, please follow us on LinkedIn, on Twitter. And you can contact us through the website. In the first page, you can enter your email address, and you will have all the news about our observatory, or you can directly write to us to send any decision or to comment something that is really useful for changing this world. Thank you very much. I can't wait to hear all our speakers today. Thank you very much, Costa, for your invitation.
Dear Donato, thank you very much for such an interesting presentation. I'm also delighted today to announce a new thing, that the Corporate Crime Observatory has established a new partnership with Violation Tracker, which is a fascinating project organized under the umbrella of Good Job First. In that regard, I'm glad to give the floor to Philip Mattera, the director of a corporate research project, who is joining us online from the United States and will briefly illustrate to us such an interesting and relevant project. Philip, please, the floor is yours.
Thanks very much for the opportunity to say a few words. Violation Tracker is a wide-ranging database on corporate crime and misconduct in the United States. We draw information from more than 400 federal, state, and local regulatory agencies with data going back to the year 2000. We currently have more than 500,000 entries in the database, and these are both civil and criminal cases. These are all resolved matters. And for each case, we list the penalty attached with the offense, including settlements. And the aggregate penalties that we've documented in the database now are in excess of $800 billion. The areas that we cover include environmental protection, labor standards, consumer protection, antitrust, bribery, and much more. In addition to the actions by the regulatory agencies and the Justice Department, we have class action lawsuits in a number of areas, including privacy, product liability, and wage theft. All of our entries have links back to an official government source, whether it's a government database or a government report or press release. The other thing that we do to enhance the data is that we link the entities named in all these individual cases to their ultimate parent company. This allows us to demonstrate which large corporations account for the largest penalty totals across their operations and subsidiaries. And we currently show that there are more than 100 parent companies with more than $1 billion in cumulative penalties. Last year, my organization also introduced a similar database called Violation Tracker UK, in which we collect information from about 50 regulatory agencies in England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. We currently have 77,000 UK cases going back to 2010. We now plan to create what we're calling Violation Tracker Global, which will draw similar information from major countries in the EU, Canada, Australia, Japan, and other large economies with well-developed regulatory and legal systems. So I'll leave it there. I urge you to check out these websites. You can find them at violationtracker.org or violationtrackeruk.org. Please try them out. And if you have any comments or questions, you can contact me. My email address is on the homepage of each of those sites. So thanks again for the opportunity to say a few words. And I think that the work that we're doing nicely complements that of the observatory. And I was very happy to be get in contact with all of you. And I look forward to working together in the future. Thanks again.
Philip, thank you so much. I really believe that Violation Tracker is an interesting project that could prove to be extremely useful, especially in the academic context for both scholars and students involved in research and learning activities. So it's an honor for us to be with you. And I've checked it out by myself, and I'm co-authoring right now with Dr. Votsa an article that will be published in a Canadian collection edited by Professor Nick Ryder of Cardiff University. And it's about corporate recidivism. And of course, as you can imagine, your Violation Tracker is an incredible source of information. So it's a pleasure. I hope that we will have synergies, create these fruitful synergies and do things together. Thank you so much, Philip. So now, without any further delay, it's time to start with our case studies. Our fantastic panelists will present the first series of 4 cases. Then we will have a question and answer time. We should finish in around 1 hour. So please, both the attendees and panelists that are here in person and the ones that are online that would like to interact with our guests, please be patient until we reach this time. So then we will have a coffee break. That's also a very important piece of news that I have to give. It's a 15 minutes, hopefully, coffee break. And then we will have the second session with other 4 case studies and the final question and answer time. So